Hi everyone, so I bought this big cabbage, but I just don't need it all. But since it's on sale, I just bought the whole thing anyway. So we're gonna, what I wanted to do with the leftover of this is to make sauerkraut. So we're gonna process this one and make sauerkraut on it. So I'm almost finished cutting this, and then we're going to ready to pack them up in the jar. Okay. So we are ready to salt our cabbage, and so we need to measure how much we have. So let's put this one on our measurement, and we're going to tear this up. Okay, so tear is basically just to put your containers and then set this one to 0. That's how to tear that. So now we are measuring our scale and containers, right? So now it's 0. So now let's build that one up with our cabbage. And so once we measure all of our cabbage, we cannot decide how much salt we're going to use. So cabbage is 2% brine. You can basically go to 2 to 3% of brining. So we have about 2,080 grams of cabbage. So now we're going to multiply that with 2% to get the brine that we want. So you get 2,080. 208 times, we're going to use the 2% brining. So we need 41.6 gram of salt. So now let's go and measure our salt. We're gonna go do the same thing. We're gonna measure our container first. Press there to 0 that out. Okay, now let's put 40 grams of salt in our container. These are kosher salt. More or less 40 something. Okay, that's all right. We are going to 2 to 3, so it doesn't have to be exact on salt. 2 to 3%. So that's the salt that we're gonna need in our cabbage sauerkraut. So now to extract the natural juice from the cabbage, we're going to soak this cabbage overnight. So tomorrow morning when I wake up, it will be full of water. Okay, so we're just gonna distribute the salt with it as we go along. There you go. So tomorrow, when we wake up tomorrow morning, this will be the juice. This will be full of juice. Say more or less about a tablespoon, more or less a tablespoon of salt, and we're going to save this one because we wanna add this in the jar where we're gonna pack this cabbage. So I'm gonna save this one here. Just so that we save that for tomorrow. And for now, if you don't have time, if you don't have time to wait for tomorrow, what you can do is just you can mash this. You can mash this one with salt, and just in few minutes of mashing it, the juice will come out. But with me, I rather just do this now tonight and then go to bed. So when I wake up, it's already done for me. So we're gonna leave this one, and we're gonna have this. We'll continue the process tomorrow morning for our cabbage is sauerkraut. Hi everyone, it's very windy, but I'm here. I am up to get some carrots. Wow, look at this, guys. Look at our harvest. This is huge. Okay, we're almost ready. We're almost ready to cut them. Okay. We are ready to cut our carrots, and in this process, I'm going to use an electric cutter, so it will be faster. So, and that's it, guys. So that's it. We finished cutting all the carrots that we have harvested. One full dish for about less than 2 or a minute, right? Yes, we are ready to pack our carrots and our cabbage, our sauerkraut. And in this, we are going to use cumin seeds to mix that around. So I'm gonna just do that now. I'm just gonna mix it in our mixture so we can mix them around and stuff. And also I'm going to also use black peppers to mix that, and also a lot of mustard seeds because I love mustard seeds. So, and then we're going to rub that up. And with this as well, I'm going to also add, because I added carrots, so I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of salt, of kosher salt. So for salt, guys, salt is a very important, it plays a very important part on fermenting. So never use an iodized table salt. Iodized salt can kill enzymes or the lactobacillus bacterials that will basically process this one. So never use iodized salt. So always go for natural salt like sea salt. And me, I love pickling salt with this kosher salt. And for me, kosher salt is the only one that really works. That's for me. And then we have these are bay leaves, and we're going to decorate our jars with bay leaves. And we have to use this is a glass weight that will help us to push those this one in the jar to make sure they're always submerged with water. And then we also have this special lid that has an automatic this one has is designed for the gas to escape from the bottle without opening, without you exposing or allowing you to just allow it so that you don't have to open it frequently. So I have this list that I have invested into. And if you don't have anything, don't worry. So these are pepper, and I started this one in October, and I don't have the proper lid for this. So I'm using a hand glove, guys. I washed this one up, and I'm using this one. You can see that there is a little bit of white stuff in there, but that will be another video to talk about. So guys, so this is it. If you don't have a lid for it, you can also be creative, and you can use this type of cover for it. No plies can go in it, and it can still expand, and the gas can still escape, right? Because it's still plastic, so the gas can still escape. So another lid you have is something like this that has a nipple on it, and that's so that they can escape also the glass. Okay, so these are the pepper. I started on November 27, and the good thing I showed to you guys is there you can see an active movement of bubbles in there. So that means that there is a very good active enzymes happening right there, like that. So you can see that, right? There's an active enzymes happening in there, and you can see that in this container there is a juice in it because they do explode. They produce more natural juice, and it will come out on the container over there. But that's another video that I'm going to do a little later. So let's concentrate on our sauerkraut first. So at this stage, we just want to encourage more juice. Although I soaked this one last night, as you can see some of the juice that is produces from the cabbage last night. But we need more juices, and also we need to tenderize more of this. So now we're just going to basically mix it and tenderize it. To just tenderize them by basically just mixing them. Okay? I also want to add paper flakes, guys, because I love paper flakes. It will give us a little bit of spice, and at the same time, it's also add with colorings. And at the same time, not just for add colorings, it's also actually help with preserving. So spices like mustard seeds that we put, the cumin seeds, and the paper flakes that we just add over there, those actually helps also in preserving them. Okay, so now you can see, guys, there's a lot more juice coming in there. As you can press it, there's a lot more juice coming in there, as you can see when I'm pressing it. So we're just gonna keep continuing to tenderize this cabbage and the carrots so that we can produce more water, more juicing, because whenever possible, I don't want to add water on it. So look at the water, look at the juices on the container there. Look, That's beautiful and rich water right there on the juice. Okay, so now basically I will just continue to tenderize this one until I have produced enough juice before we pack this up. The good thing, guys, on packing is you don't need the bottle to be sterilized. As long as it is clean with soap and rinse it with water and dry the jar, then you are good to use the jar. So now, guys, you can see how much juices we have managed to produce, and our carrots and our cabbage are tenderized. As you can see how juicy they come out with. So now we are ready to pack them in the jar. And in this packing, we are going to use these tools that will help us to load this up faster. Okay, so we're going to use the panel. So and also I have a spoon here so we can scoop the juice for later. And I have this as well. Any stick will do as well, with something to wide it in order for you to kind of compress our cabbage. So these are important. We want to compress it so that we can eliminate as much air inside it as possible. Also, at this point, I'm gonna now remember that I have saved about 2 tablespoons of salt. At this point, I still want to put some salt on each jars that I'm gonna use, and also a little bit more pepper inside. But you don't have to. This is just me, okay? Right? So now we're gonna start loading it. And at this stage, guys, we can also add the bay leaves in the in the bottle so that we can position them the way you like it. So we are adding the bay leaves in here, and I'm gonna use about 3 for each jar. So I love to use bay leaf. For me, bay leaf is lock, and that is how I use for that. And also, I also like to use and help for. It's also helpful for as well for fermentation process. But for me, it's mostly for enjoyment. Compress it, guys. The goal is to remove the air bubbles on it. So we just have to compress it hard so that we can remove all the air bubbles. Okay? All right. So I want to show you how it affects when you keep pressing it on with the tools. You can see all the waters coming up from it as I press it. So that is how enough you can create juicing to it. Let's see all the waters as you press it. The juice will just compress, right? And at the same time, we're also pressing it in with the tools so that we can get rid any air spaces. So there you go, guys. So it's beautiful. I love it to see it when I seeing those juice coming up, because that is a good indication that I'm not gonna need extra water to fill up our jars. So that is basically, guys, that is how you are wanting to achieve as you pack them up. You want to achieve that compressions as you pack your jar, no air spaces, and you want to also see the distribution of the juices. So I pack almost everything, and now we are going to drain this juice on our big container so that there is a lot of herbs in here that we don't want to waste. So we're gonna strain this one so we can put this mustard seeds back in the jar. Okay, those nice like that. And we're also going to use these juices that we produce. So we're gonna put these spices here in the jar, and we're going to distribute this in our jar. So far I was able to make quite a few. You need all those spices in there. So now the next step we have to do is to just this is at this point, that is, we need to check if we did a good job of compressing them and removing all the air spaces. So far so good. There's no bubbles inside the jar, so that means this one is good. We did a good job. And let's do some more about checking. So the same thing with this. There's no you cannot see bubbles or air spaces in between the veggies. So this is good. Okay, so and there is juice coming up in there, so one few more we have to check. So I managed to make 3.5, and then, guys, I saved some of this. This is important. These are the leaves. It's important to use in order for us to kind of trap everything underneath it. Okay, so just these are the outside leaves of the stuff. So we need something like this, and I almost forgot about this actually. So we're gonna put this in here. So this is important to trap those tiny pieces so that they will not surface. So we're just gonna basically try to slide the leaves in it, so it will become like a blanket for it, so that they will not surface up as we go this process. Okay, so we don't want them on the surface, we want them to stay underneath. Now we have put all our the whole one to block them up the surface. We're now ready to put our weight on it, right? So we can put this weight on. So as we put the weight, we kind of just push it down to make sure that it is compressed. And at this point, guys, as you can see that one, we can then now add the juice that we have extracted from earlier. So now we can top this one up. We're gonna have to make sure it's all the way up to the neck over there. So this is good enough, guys. This is how it is. And even if you don't have enough of it, even you just have spare and you have more, you can only cover the glass, or before you even cover the glass, that's okay. Don't worry about it, because it will continue to produce juices, and then it will, over time, it will overflow. And so this is the example of the one that we have done about few days ago, and look how it is. And that's the catcher that it overflow its juice on it. And you can see that the lid is expanding, and it has air on it that is escaping. And you can also see some of the juices that has salt on this one. So I'm gonna do a separate recording for this one later, and I'll show you how to clean this one up. So this is it, guys. So this is basically done, and all we have to do is basically now clean up the edge of this one before we seal it. Okay, just showing that to you. And so this is how I'm going to sell this one. And for now, I will just keep it closed, because it will take still about 3 days before they can generate those little bubbles, and before the enzymes get so active, it may take about 3 days. So for now, I will just close this one, leave that one closed. And once it's ready, it's so easy to lift it up anyway. All you have to do is basically, when it's so bubbly, you will just press it down. So when you press it down, you see this one, there is where the air is gonna come out. Then press it down, or maybe just leave it down. So this is it, guys. So this is our first fermenting, our first jar of cabbage, sauerkraut, and carrots.